20 years, this is a pretty mundane and benign process. But like so many of those other traditional mundane and benign processes in a Trump era, they get a lot of attention because tradition kind of goes out the window. And so right now what you're seeing is the Biden transition team still trying to push forward on policy, trying to push forward on personnel, but not actually able to push forward in terms of what they need to do to get the processes going with their transition. And so what you're left with is them trying to forge forward on a policy agenda and just waiting for these results to be ascertained so that it can be made official. It leaves you in this sort of limbo where Trump has not conceded, we're not asking him to or expecting him to, but everyone else just seems to have sort of moved on. You have world leaders talking to Biden. Earlier this week, he had a phone call with bipartisan groups of governors. And just yesterday, he met with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to try to forge a path forward on getting COVID stimulus money out to Americans during this lame duck session. And so if you look at the breaking news tonight out of Pennsylvania, you're seeing more dominoes fall in the Trump campaign legal strategy. This is something that Biden's lawyers had long looked at with a side eye. At the same time, though, this is how they thought it was going to break down, that eventually the Trump campaign would be out of legal dominoes to play and that they would just be able to stop muddying the waters. They're just hoping to move on at this point.
Yeah, the judge seems to have given the same kind of side eye in his ruling today. Thank you, Ali. That's NBC political reporter Ali Vitale joining us from Wilmington, Delaware. Now let's turn to Michigan. Joe Biden won that battleground state, part of the Democrats' so-called blue wall. He prevailed by more than 154,000 votes. As in other swing states, President Trump filed legal challenges there. On Thursday, those lawsuits were abruptly dropped. Then a new strategy seemed to emerge. The president invited state lawmakers to the White House. Critics have called that an attempt to pressure them into throwing the state's 16 electoral votes to him. NBC's Heidi Prisbilla joins us now with more. Heidi, walk us a little bit more through the timeline of what happened this week with these two election officials in Wayne County, that's the Detroit area. They refused to certify the vote totals.
They refused initially, and then they agreed. They said they had grievances about what is essentially a clerical error that occurs in many elections, not only in Detroit, but in cities around the country. In any event, so they eventually agreed to certify. They said they wanted an audit. The board passed a resolution to say they wanted an audit. And then there was a phone call by President Trump to both of the two Republican members on this board. A day after that, both of them signed affidavits saying, one of them signed an affidavit saying she wanted to retract her vote certifying, and she said that she was coerced into essentially voting to certify these votes, and took it all back. So that was where we were left with the Wayne County board, and now the president used that to falsely claim that the entire election wasn't certified. Well, the Secretary of State said, sorry, you can't take it back, okay? The votes are certified, now it's going to the state canvassing board.
Jonathan Kinloch, who is the Democratic Vice Chair of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, was on MSNBC today. Here's part of what he said.
They voted no initially to not certify the election. We went into public comment and the public let loose on them.
The public did let loose on them, Heidi, but also those two state GOP leaders were invited to the White